Today we're diving into something that sounds like science fiction, but is already rolling out. Governments forcing age verification straight into the operating system of your phone, laptop, tablet, even your Steam Deck. First the UK with its Online Safety Act, now California with a brand new law that hits every single OS on the planet, including Linux distros and SteamOS. This isn't just click here to prove you're over 18 on a corn site. This is your device itself checking your age at setup and then quietly telling every app you open exactly which age bracket you fall into. Sounds like a win for protecting kids, right? Except it comes with massive privacy invasions, free speech problems, technical nightmares, and a slippery slope that could age-gate the entire internet. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening, how it works, and why privacy advocates, open source devs, and even some tech giants are sounding the alarm. If you care about digital freedom, hit that like button and let's get into it. So grab a coffee and let's dive in. Let's start in the United Kingdom. In July 2025, key parts of the Online Safety Act kicked in. Ofcom, the UK regulator, now requires pretty much every major platform, social media, corn sites, even some forums, to use highly effective age assurance to stop kids from seeing harmful content. That means photo ID uploads, facial age estimation scans, credit card checks, or even open banking verification. Sounds targeted, right? But here's where it gets sneaky. To actually comply without getting fined into oblivion, big tech companies like Apple started baking age checks directly into the operating system and App Store. In early 2026, Apple pushed iOS 26.4 beta updates specifically for UK users. When you try to download or purchase any 18+ rated app, or even change certain restrictions, a system dialog pops up. Confirm your age to continue. Fail to do it, and downloads for adult apps are straight up blocked. Apple's own docs tie this directly to UK regulatory requirements. Google is doing similar things on Android. So even though the law was written for platforms, the practical enforcement is moving to the OS level because it's the only scalable way to do it. One verification at the device or App Store layer, then the signal gets passed around. Proponents call this privacy preserving, because you don't have to upload your ID to every single website. Critics say it's the government outsourcing surveillance to Apple and Google, and once the infrastructure exists, it never goes away. Fast forward to October 2025. California Governor Gavin Newsom quietly signed Assembly Bill 1043, the Digital Age Assurance Act. It takes effect January 1st, 2027, and it is the most explicit OS-level age verification mandate in the world so far. Here's exactly what it says. Every operating system provider, that's Apple for iOS, macOS, Google for Android, ChromeOS, Microsoft for Windows, Valve for SteamOS, and literally any Linux distribution or anyone who develops, licenses, or controls OS software on general purpose devices sold or used in California must do two things. First, at account setup or by July 2027 for existing devices, they have to pop up an accessible interface and force the account holder, a parent or guardian if the user is under 18, to enter the primary user's birth date or age. No ID scan, no facial recognition, just self-reported. Second, they must build a real-time API that spits out a cryptographic age bracket signal to any app or developer who requests it when the app is downloaded or launched. The brackets are under 13, 13 to under 16, 16 to under 18, and 18+. Only the bracket, no name, no exact birthday, no personal ID. Developers are legally required to request this signal and use it as the primary way to decide what content or features to show. The bill even applies to open source Linux distros and SteamOS. If you're a small Linux maintainer and someone in California installs your OS, you're technically on the hook, or you have to geo-block the entire state. System76 and other Linux hardware companies have already started commenting on how messy this gets. California calls this privacy preserving and standardized. One age check at the device level instead of every single app or website collecting your ID. Big tech actually supported this bill because it avoids the constitutional nightmares of the Texas and Utah per site ID laws that keep getting sued. Apple and Google hated the old patchwork approach. This shifts the burden upstream to the OS they already control. Let me break down the flow so you can see why it's so powerful and so creepy. You buy a new phone in California in 2027. During the Set Up Your Device wizard, right after Wi-Fi and Apple ID or Google account, there's now a mandatory screen. Who primarily uses this device? Enter birth date. A parent does it for their kid. The OS stores that locally and generates an encrypted token. Later, you open TikTok, Roblox, Discord, or even a news app. The moment the app launches, it pings the OS API. Hey, what's the age bracket for this user? The OS replies with 16 to under 18 or whatever. The app then instantly switches to teen mode. Different algorithm, restricted features, age-gated content. No extra prompts for the user. Seamless. Apple already has something similar with its declared age range API. Google has been testing age signals in the UK. California just made it mandatory for everyone, including the little guys. Now the part everyone glosses over. The downsides are huge. First, privacy and surveillance. Even though the signal is only a bracket, the OS providers now have an official government-mandated record tying your device to an age category. That data lives on your phone, synced to iCloud or Google, and is queried constantly by apps. We've seen what happens when big tech holds more data. Breaches, government requests, advertising profiles. EFF and privacy groups are already warning this normalizes infrastructure-level age tracking. Next step? Stronger verification, ID uploads, or biometrics. Because self-reporting is obviously easy to lie about. Second, it doesn't even protect kids effectively. A 14-year-old just lies at setup and says they're 19, or uses a parent's device that's set to adult. Shared family tablets, grandparents' phones used by grandkids, total mess. UK experience with platform checks already showed massive circumvention. VPN usage spiked 20+%. People used AI-generated deepfake photos to fool facial scans. California's self-report version will be even easier to dodge. Meanwhile, determined kids just switch to web browsers or sideload apps, so the bad actors still get through. But now everyone else is tracked. Third, free speech and adult access. Once apps are required to request the signal, they'll overblock to avoid lawsuits. Content that's fine for 17-year-olds might get hidden for anyone the OS flags as under 18. Educational sites, LGBTQ+ resources, health information, political discussions, all potentially age-gated. Adults on shared or family plans lose privacy. The bill says developers can override with their own data, but most won't risk it. This is infrastructure-level censorship. Fourth, it kills open source and innovation. Imagine Ubuntu, Fedora, or a tiny indie Linux distro trying to comply with a California-only API requirement. Either they add the code, huge engineering cost, geo-block California users, impossible to enforce, or stop shipping to the state. SteamOS on the deck, same problem. Small developers get crushed while Apple and Google already have the infrastructure ready. This is classic regulatory capture. Big tech wins, everyone else loses. Fifth, slippery slope. Today it's a self-reported bracket for age-appropriate apps. Tomorrow, when regulators say self-reporting isn't highly effective, they'll demand biometrics or digital ID wallets baked into the OS. We've seen it in the UK already. Facial scans, third-party vendors, data breaches at Discord exposing 70,000+ ID photos. California's law is sold as the privacy-friendly version, but it builds the exact same pipes that future laws can tighten. Other states and countries are watching. Australia, Canada, the EU. This model spreads fast. Sixth, real-world family and accessibility nightmares. A single mom sets up her kid's tablet as under 13. Suddenly, every app on that device is locked down forever unless she factory resets. What about multi-user window PCs or Chromebooks in schools and libraries? The bill doesn't handle shared devices well. People with disabilities who rely on family members to set up their devices, extra friction. And good luck if you travel. Your California set device might behave differently in other states. We've already seen the UK rollout cause adult sites to lose huge domestic traffic while VPNs exploded. Adults just left the platform rather than verify. California's version will do the same, but across every app, from games to social media to browsers. Look, nobody wants kids harmed online, but turning the operating system, the foundation of every device you own, into a mandatory age reporting tool creates a surveillance backbone that's too easy to abuse and too hard to undo. It shifts power from individuals to a handful of tech giants and governments. It fragments the open internet. And history shows once these systems exist, scope creep is inevitable. The California law takes effect in less than a year. The UK is already testing OS enforcements. This is the new normal unless we push back. Contact your representatives, even if you're not in California, because these bills copy-paste across borders. Support privacy organizations fighting these in court. EFF has been crushing it on First Amendment grounds. Use open source tools, support companies that prioritize user control, and stay skeptical when politicians say it's just for the children. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you accept OS level age checks if they actually worked? Or is the privacy cost too high? I read every comment. If you want more deep dives on tech policy and regulation and digital rights, smash subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. Thanks for watching, stay free out there, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.